So I'm just recording this now to go over the new Season 2, well, Year 8 Season 2 Global Modifier system, the PvE Dark Zone, and how it all works. We're going to go over it. We're going to show you some gameplay, talk you through the gameplay loop, and try to explain it, because a lot of people in stream are a little bit confused about how it all works. What I would say, a lot of people think this is permanent change. This is just the global modifier for Year 8 Season 2. This is not permanent. The PvE DZ is not permanent. It's just the whole modifier loop. So if we go into that for starters, you've got next season, the global modifier is going to be called Cleaning Up the Streets. I'll remove my webcam just while we have a look at this screen so you don't miss any of the text. But yeah, cleaning up the streets, and the description here is you're going to be collecting sample canisters from the Hyena Overrun Dark Zone. So this is the PvE Dark Zone. Then you're going to turn them in at the research bench to increase sample size and to earn stacks of high quality munitions. High quality munitions provides cumulative bonus. The larger sample size gets. Reloading a weapon consumes one stack of high quality munitions. So the high quality munitions effects are this. The sample size while it's at 0 to 99 is 50% optimal range. Then when you get to the next level, it's 50% weapon handling, then 50% magazine size, 50% damage to armor, 50% rate of fire. So it's very simple gameplay loop. You're going to be collecting these canisters. You're going to be donating these canisters. As you donate them, the sample size will increase. This will be for the whole season. So once you get the sample size to max, you'll have access to all of these high quality munitions for the whole season. So you can see I've currently just unlocked 2. My sample size is 140, just a bit short of the third one there, and we've got 2 unlocked. So every time I reload and use my high quality munitions, I'm going to get 40% optimal range and 30% weapon handling every time I reload, whether it's forced or whether I manually do it. But as I get this maxed out, I'll also get the magazine size, damage to armor, and rate of fire on that reload. So your aim's going to be to go get these canisters, hand them in, unlock all of this, and then take advantage of all those buffs. Essentially it. That is the gameplay loop. It's quite simple. We can go and have a look at the map and the Dark Zone on the PTS right now. Remember, this is the PTS we're taking this from. Very early build, lots of adjustments come from feedback and things like that. We're just giving you an overview right now of how it currently is. So this is what it looks like. Right now on the PTS, it's DZ East that is going to be the PvE Dark Zone. You can see that you've got a toxicity debuff stack on the right-hand side of the screen there. This is how this Dark Zone is going to work. We'll show you in gameplay in a moment. We're going to go in and farm it, and you'll see what I mean. But when you go into the Dark Zone, you're going to start getting this toxicity debuff. And when you're below the threshold of 0 to 99, there's no debuffs. But as the longer you're in there, the higher this toxicity level is going to rise, and eventually at 100 stacks of it, you're going to lose 30% reload speed and 30% weapon handling. Then you'll take more damage and lose hazard protection, and then you get more threat generation and lose movement speed. And when you're between 400 and 500 stacks of this, when taking damage, 20% chance for 3 seconds, which is really annoying. Plus 2 toxicity debuff stack every 10 seconds, and the only way to get rid of it is to exit to remove stacks. So you can go to a safe house, it'll go back to 0. So this is the PvE Dark Zone, how it's going to work. When the game is live, it is going to rotate every week. So it might be DZ East, it might go to DZ South, DZ West. Every week it'll rotate to a different DZ to keep it fresh. So that's where you're going to go to get these canisters. However, if you're not interested in it, you don't need to farm this. You are going to be able to get them outside by farming missions. Hyenas are going to give you a drop rate that's lower than doing that though, but you can farm hyena missions, or other factions will be an even lower drop rate. So everything we're showing you today in the DZ, if you're not liking the looks of this, you're not forced to do this. You can just farm missions. You can find these canisters. You'll be able to upgrade your modifiers without ever entering there. So don't worry too much about that. But that's it. We're going to go in there. We're going to farm canisters. And once we've done that, we're going to come here to the base of operations. We're going to go to the vendor here. We're going to trade in our canisters, which is going to give us these samples. And then when we go back into our seasonal menu, this is what's going to charge the sample size. That's the gameplay loop. Earn canisters, hand them in, get buffs. Simple as that. Now, with that, obviously, on every season, you do get active modifiers and you also get passive modifiers. So the active modifiers for this season, you got 3 of them. I don't know which one I like right now. This is not that sort of video. This is just an overview for you. But what I will explain, Each active modifier comes with its main sort of perk. It gives you a description of that. They said don't read too much into descriptions right now. These are going to be a bit more simplified for release. And Invincible doesn't even have one. It just says Invincible. But how they do work differently to previous seasons, though, is you can surge them. So once you've got in and you've got powered up, you've got all your canisters, you've got all your unlocks, you're still going to want those musicians and the canisters, because when you are playing, when you use your active modifier to surge it, you will automatically consume canisters to surge it if they're available. If you don't have canisters available, you won't take advantage of the surge effect. So just for example, if we use Vicarious as an example, this is going to be we'll go through this one and just kind of show you how the surge works. So on activation, enemies and allies within 15 meters of you gain separate stacking effects for the next 35 seconds. Allies receive 20% incoming repairs per stack. Enemies take 20% extra damage from skills per stack. The number of stacks is equal to the total number of allies and enemies in the radius when Vicarious is activated. You also gain 20% skill efficiency for 35 seconds to cooldown to 180 seconds. So that's just pressing T or up on the D-pad, whatever you press to activate it. That's what you get. If you've got canisters, it's going to surge it. When it surges it, Vicarious automatically consumes 5 sample canisters on activation to improve its effects. Skill efficiency is increased to 40% while it's active. Enemies and allies within 10 meters of your active skills are also affected by Vicarious and count toward the total number of stacks. And in the PvE Dark Zone, toxicity is reduced by 50% on activation. So we just spoke about toxicity. Activating these active modifiers, it's got to always reduce those stacks by 50% to help cool that down a little bit rather than just exit it. Now, as with previous seasons, you can level these up as well. Each one of these come with leveling just by playing. They level up quite fast. On this one that we're going over, once you get to level 2, the radius is going to be increased to 25 meters around you and 15 meters around your active skills if applicable. And level 3, the number of sample canisters needed to surge is reduced to 4 rather than 5. So you'll be leveling up your actives like you have in previous seasons, but it just work a little bit different this time with the surge thing and having canisters on you just to make even more take even more advantage of them. So you have this one here that is all about different buffs for your weapons depending on what weapons you use, and Invincible is more about survivability. I don't know 100% what Invincible does because there's no description there, but it does show you when you search it. Bonus armor on kill increases to 10%. Bonus armor persists for 60 seconds. Damage target out of cover increases. You only take 100% damage when invincibility ends, and in PvE Dark Zone again, toxicity is reduced. You can level it up. Now, with the passive modifiers this season, I'm just going to go over the 3 that I've selected that I think work well in the PvE Dark Zone. I've currently selected Cartridge Belt. My maximum capacity of sample containers is increased by 50 because with these sample containers, you do have a max capacity, and I think it starts at 40. So while you're collecting these, you pick them up automatically. You don't need to extract them or anything like that. So as you're picking them up, they automatically go in your inventory, but you only can carry 40. With this passive, it allows me to get 90. So I'm leveling up my samples. I'm going to have this at 90 to try and get as many as I can, sort of my goal there. And then once I've maxed out all of my seasonal buffs, I'll take that off and change it to something else. I'm also going to run the immune response. After using an armor kit, damage I take is reduced by 20% for 30 seconds. And then in the PvE DZ, I suffer no negative effects from toxicity for that same duration, which is quite good because toxicity is pretty difficult, especially when it does grow in stacks. So being able to use a med kit and just remove those debuffs for 30 seconds is quite OP. So I decided to go for that. And then inoculated is the other one I'm running. Toxicity accumulation from all sources is reduced by 50%. So instead of the stacks going up every 2 seconds, I think it was 2 stacks for 10 seconds, it'll be 1 stack per 10 seconds instead with that. So I like that. There's other stuff you can look at as well. I quite like the unfriendly fire. I think this is a return of an old one. Shooting a hyena's shield deflects bullets, dealing 60% of that damage to other enemies. There's contagion, which looks pretty decent for close quarter combat. Viper bite, you can put things on poison after every 5th kill. Not a ton of passives this season, but passives to help with that toxicity right now, I'm going to recommend. But yeah, we'll do a full-on video on launch of how this looks then after all the feedback and whatnot. But pretty simple gameplay loop this season. There are hostile modifiers as well, of course. We got 3 hostile modifiers, and the worst one I think it's this Plague Doctor. So this Plague Doctor is quite annoying. Enemies with Plague Doctor and allies within 10 meters of them regenerate health at a rate of 10% per second in the PvE DZ. Your toxicity increases by 1% per second while you're in that same radius. Quite annoying. And then you've got Sopophoric. After receiving damage from enemies with that, you become lethargic for 20 seconds. While lethargic, any other damage you take has 20% chance to disorientate you for 5 seconds. Again, so annoying. Killing an enemy with this removes lethargic, and then in the PvE DZ, any damage from enemies with that increases your toxicity by 1%. So quite an annoying one. And then there's this final one. Enemies with Folia Deuce gain 2% damage per second after entering combat, up to a maximum of 50%. If they are not killed within 2 seconds of first receiving damage, they transfer that to their closest ally on death. In the PvE DZ, enemies with this also increase your toxicity by 10% if you're within 20 meters of them when they die. This does not occur if the enemy is killed within 2 seconds, though. So there's a lot that's going to be increasing your toxicity. That's also going to be increasing the hazards. It is quite annoying. So you kind of want to play towards that. A lot of people are saying they're going to be making builds for this. I've been running with my blue striker build. I've been running with this unbreakable striker build quite fine. I think having a healer is going to be quite nice. I think with some of the passive modifiers, I've kind of set this up to just reduce some of those effects and make it a little bit easier. But let's go through the gameplay loop now. Let's show you this in action and actually show you the PvE DZ and gathering some of these and spending them, because there's also another surprise of this season in this PvE DZ, the extraction. I won't spoil it just in case you don't know, but I've got a team. We're going to go and farm a couple of landmarks, and it's just like the DZ woodwork. It's apart from a lot harder and no PvP. People can't go rogue or anything like that, and you're left to it. There's still got a 12-player limit. DZ is going to raise in difficulty with the more people that are in the dark zone, so the enemies will scale. If you've got a full lobby, the enemies are going to scale to that. You might want to link up and work together. So you can kind of tell how many people are in the dark zone with you by how hard the enemies are. Like, they can become very tanky, and it's like, okay, maybe we should find where these players are and work with them, you know? But we've got 4 of us now. We're going to hit a normal, and then hard. We'll just hit any close ones to us. One of my advice is going to be, you know, if you're new to the dark zone, if you're struggling, just go for like the easier landmarks. If you go for a heroic landmark, it's going to be a lot harder. But yeah, PvE DZ. Let's go and farm some canisters. Here's the red radius from that Plague Doctor or whatever it was. I think my audio is just out, so let me just fix that. That was one canister then, by the way. They drop as blue right now, and they automatically go into your inventory. Someone in my stream said in the live game you're going to have to extract them, but in the notes it didn't say that. But that's what they look like. They just drop as blue. You pick them up. They drop quite frequently in here. And automatically go into your inventory. Now, if you look on the right side of my HUD, you can see my munitions where it says 799. That'll go down by 1 every time I reload. So every time I reload, I'm going to be taking advantage of those extra buffs with the munitions. And the bottom one there where it says 9, they are my canisters. You can see how many canisters you've currently got. So I've currently got 9 canisters. I can have a maximum of 90. And on the left-hand side of the screen, you can see the toxicity charge going up. So I'm currently at 16 stacks on toxicity, okay? That's having no effect on me whatsoever at the moment, but that will go and give me some debuffs as it gets to 100. Now, what I do advise when you're doing these landmarks is to look for these chests. These have a good amount of canisters that come out of them if you can open them. Go and hit the hard one next. I've just got a Caduceus on. I kind of want to see how this works. Use a Caduceus for this landmark. I'd like to see how much heal it gives me. It's 1.5% heal, so let's take some damage. get out of our healing hive and try and heal ourselves with it. Need to take some more damage, I think. Feels a bit like an ACR. I think it is an ACR.
Agent down.
Oh. See if we can heal Rep.
Control detected.
A little bit of chunks there. I need like a tanky enemy to shoot on, see how much it heals.
An agent needs assistance. Contaminated gear detected.
Some more canisters over here. Make sure you pick these up. We're now on 10. They'll drop random in mounts as well. Sometimes you'll get 1 canister. Sometimes you get like 4 canisters. Be like random. We're already up to 14 canisters now. If we can find some chests to open, they drop like 15, something like that. I think Rick should just go back to DPS.
Incoming hostiles detected.
I told him to go on healer. So I thought, make the recording smooth. I think this Caduceus might do a good amount of healing. So I just used my active modifier there. I didn't see what my toxicity stack was, but that should have reduced it by 50%. You see how it's charging now. We're up to 81 stacks at the moment.
Now detecting contaminated gear. Landmark cleared.
I'm not sure if we're gonna have the chest. No, it's already been opened. There we go. Dark Zone keys. You'll pick up keys off Dark Zone enemies, and then you'll notice in the bottom left-hand corner, I got 12 sample canisters out of that. Well worth opening. I think you can open them once every 30 minutes. We've got challenging landmark up next. Look at all this green around the screen and everything. It's pretty cool. Okay. Now Rick's gone back to DPS. We can actually have a look at how good this Caduceus might be as well. It doesn't seem to give you like an instant heal with the crit though. I don't know. I'm not even noticing the heal right now. Early PTS, it might not even be working probably. Just go back to LMG.
Incoming hostiles detected.
We'll do a few more landmarks. I'm on 107 stacks now, so I am now taking a debuff. I can press T in less than 60 seconds to reduce that by 50% again, but we're going to start taking debuffs now. As we get even higher, the higher we get, the more debuffs we're going to be taking, like the Disorients and everything. It does get quite difficult. I'd say it becomes next to unplayable when you get really high, when you get up to like 500 stacks of the toxicity. it becomes unplayable. So you do need to manage that. We're at 165 now. So if my headset's on the wrong way and I'm looking the wrong way to gunfire. There we go. I'm going to press T. It's on 169. Took it down to 146.
Now detecting contaminated gear. Agent down.
Another landmark cleared. Not sure where the box is. Yeah, I may have seen it on this side. I think it was already open though.
Landmark has been cleared.
These boxes also have chance of exotic components as well. And if you dismantle all your DZ loot while you're farming the DZ, you're going to get DZ resource. And you'll be able to spend that DZ resource also for like exotic caches at one of the vendors. So the... the PvE DZ could become a little bit of a exotic farm. Now we got a challenge and a normal. What we're going to do is hit the safe house. I'm not going to show you these debuffs in full effect because it does get very hard. Just imagine your reload speed taking forever. Like the reload speed's okay right now, but then imagine every bullet hitting you, disorientating you. So stuff you'll have to deal with as those stacks go up. So while you're farming, you're going to just want to hit a safe house or something just to remove the stacks and then continue. So we'll go and do that. And then what we're going to do is hit an extraction and get our loot out. We don't need to do that for the containers though. We've got 32 canisters. We've got 32 canisters currently on us. And we can go and spend them at the base of operations to get some sample upgrades. But while you're farming a DZ, you're making regular stops at a safe house just to remove the stacks. Because other than using like a search and some passive modifiers to slow it down, the only way to get rid of them is to just jump into a safe house. You jump into a safe house, it goes down to 0 stacks straight away. Up to 172 stacks right now. So it's literally about to add another debuff on top of us. But if we just jump in here. Jump straight back out. We're back to 0. Should be doing a lot of that. I definitely hit one of those before doing an extract. And you'll see why now. You'll see why now. Because although the canisters go automatically in your inventory, your loot that you pick up, or your DZ currency that you're dismantling or whatever, you do need to extract that. And when you die, by the way, anything you've got in your bag will still drop on the ground in this PTS anyway. So like if one of my teammates died, they'd drop their loot, I'll be able to pick it up, other players will be able to pick it up. So it's still quite risky dying. You don't want to die and lose the stuff that you get. You got to extract it. So we're going to go and extract. And the PvE DZ does have a little bit of a difference to a normal DZ. When we call this in, you're going to have to defend the extraction against these guys. Now, they said the amount of hunters spawning in would be dependent on how many people or players are at the extraction. So we're meant to have 4 right now, but for whatever reason, we're only getting 2. Again, it's the PTS, so it might not be 4. But I can imagine a 12 hunter encounter. It's the first thing I wanted to do today when I loaded up the PTS. You can see how quick they're dying as well. It might be that not many people are in the DZ right now. They're not hard to kill. They do hit very hard, though. But the more people in the DZ, the more HP they're gonna have and things like that. So bear that in mind. And when you're extracting, if another team ran up to this extraction now, it would spawn more hunters in on top of us. So be mindful of that as well. You're never sort of safe on an extraction. We'll get our loot out. We'll go back to the base and we'll spend some canisters. We've got 32 canisters on that run. That's basically going to be the gameplay loop. You're going to be running the DZ. You're going to be picking up canisters, farming loot, getting yourself some DZ resources, farming some exotic components maybe or whatever. Those DZ resources are going to be quite valuable, especially now you're going to be able to buy prototype caches and things. And in that, was it one of the dark zones? It's going to give you a 200% increase on DZ resource too. So that might be worth going in. More riskier because PvP, but tons of DZ resource. Get prototype caches, get more exotic caches. Could be a decent exotic component farm. With that, we'll go and hit the safe house. We'll go back to the base and we'll spend some canisters so you can have a look what that looks like. To make this clear once again, you do not need to do this. In the new season, you'll be able to get canisters from not going in this area. You won't need to touch the DZ. You'll be able to just farm missions and other factions. You'll get canisters to drop regardless. It's just that this is going to be the most rewarding way of getting them. You'll get much more canisters from playing in here. So you'll be able to level things up quicker. And once everything's leveled up, depending on whatever you're doing, like we're farming tier 10 escalations right now, we'll be able to go into escalation and take advantage of all the buffs. Every time I reload, I'm going to be getting all that reload speed and damage to armor and all that good stuff. Where it sounds though, you have to keep your munitions up, so you will need to keep on topping up your canisters to keep your munitions up. When you run out of them, you won't get the buffs. That's how it sounds. So yeah, but you do have loads of munitions. We're on hundreds right now. So you might need to keep on topping them up now and then. But with that little farm, we did get a few canisters. We'll head back to the base. And you'll take a current look at my current sample rate. Get what it was. But I think we're just about to unlock the next one. So yeah, we're 140. At 150, we get the magazine size on reload with the higher munitions. So we'll go to the vendor. They said this is going to look a lot different as well on launch as well. This very early PTS. Don't take note of how it looks now. But basically, I'm trading in sample canisters, right? So I've got 32 on me, which means I can trade in 20. And then I can trade in, and that took 30 for some reason. Oh no, it cost me 30 to get 20 sample. My bad. So we've done that. And when we go back to here, we're now on 160, which just took us over. So we've now unlocked our third buff. So every reload now with the munitions, I'm going to be getting 40% optimal range, 35% weapon handling, 20% magazine size. I'm literally doing that gameplay loop until I'm not even doing this that long to get 150. You'll probably be able to get this done in a day quite easily. And once this is all unlocked, every time I reload, I'll get all of these buffs, including damage to armor and rate of fire as well. And once you've done that, you're pretty much finished with it. You might still want to farm the PvE DZ though for the season, because like I said, it could be a good exotic component farm. It could just be fun for players that don't really go in the DZ. It is definitely quite challenging compared to the normal DZ in terms of PvE ads and stuff. It's fun. I like it. That's the PTS sort of version of very early build. If I do a quick video just explaining it for you guys. And we'll see where it goes. There's going to be a lot of feedback. If you're playing the PTS this weekend, or if you got any feedback, make sure you go to the Discord and you post in the feedback channels of what you think, because they read all your feedback. They'll be using this feedback to make amendments and things like that. Currently, when I first jumped in, I thought, oh my god, what's going on? Didn't really understand it. Once I read through everything and made sense of it and used passive modifiers, it made it a little bit easier for myself. It became much more enjoyable. I can see potentially the rate of toxicity, how quick it goes up. Maybe the people are not going to like that. And I'd like to see another way of reducing the toxicity other than using I know you get 50% reduction when you use your active, but I feel like I like everything, but at the minute I feel like I'm having to go back to a safe house too often. It'd be good if, I don't know, per kill it reduced it a little bit or something like that, so I could just keep on farming for longer, not having to, because when those stacks get high of toxicity, it becomes next to unplayable. If anyone's ever tried playing with inverted controllers, you are just disorientated all of the time. It gets very difficult. You've got to manage it, so you're forever going back to a safe house to remove the stack. It's not too bad, but I can see maybe some balancing adjustments there, but pretty fun. Any questions, post it down in the video comments. Don't forget to like. As always, we're going to have another PTS video going out as well with the new gear and weapons, although I'm not really testing them. We'll go over them, show you what they are, so you can have a look at them as well. But thank you for watching. Take care.